What's up there, Workforce? Chris here with Work to Game, and today I want to talk about an idea that, we have players who are looking at returning to the game, we have players who are looking at taking breaks. 2018 has been an incredible lineup that we're getting for games. We're going into that summer season where it's fun to get outside, and with E3 we can expect to start getting our launches for what games are out the rest of the year. There's already big games starting to drop. God of War is obviously the game of this week, and so the question is 4.3 a patch that you should stay for? Is it a patch you should come back for? Let's talk about it. So today is just a quick opinion piece. I don't have a sandwich to make. I hope you guys enjoyed the Pokemon video. I'd love to get back to making more things like that and spending a little longer time editing, but we're trying to just get down and drill to the core question here, and I think this one is important. Is 4.3 a patch you should stick around for? 4.3, in my opinion, is a final, the other shoe has dropped. This is rounding out things. It's finally giving us a kind of crafting and now gathering beast tribes. So this may be the last beast tribe we get for the 4.0 series, but it definitely gives those players something to engage with. This is going to be giving us yet another dungeon, yet another trial, yet another more main scenario. So it's all pretty predictable. It's giving us the companion app that's long overdue. Without diving into that too much, I think it's kind of underwhelming, missing some features I would have loved to see it include, things like triple triad, things like, ways to engage with the game better when you're not there instead of just partially a money grab, and a pretty limited amount of features, both for the paid and unpaid version. I'll be getting the unpaid version to get my Aethernet free discount, but Aetherite, that's about it. So I don't see that being a big change in my life. I would have loved to see it be something that allows me to engage in the game when I'm not at home. But unfortunately, that's not the direction they chose to take. Maybe we'll get a second app. I know WoW's kind of run 2 apps before, and so if that's a precedent for what an MMO can do with an app, since those are kind of the 2 big MMOs in the room, maybe that's something that they can move towards. But I don't want to sit here and say, wow, we finally got one. Where's our second app? So 4.3, is it something we're sticking around for? Well, in my opinion, 4.3 sounds like more of the same. It is a standard default patch. We're getting to the middle of this expansion, so it's time for Deep Dungeon to be updated for this level range. We're getting to the middle of an expansion, so it's time to give us, the other half of Beast Tribes. We're getting to the middle of an expansion, so it's time to round out dungeon content, trial content, move the scenario in a direction so we can start to predict what the conflict is going to be, where the next expansion will go. It is predictable, true to form, roughly feels about the pace that 3.3, 3.4, 2.3, 2.4 did. I expect 4.4 to be kind of anything you expected this to be. They're of course going to have little features and quality of life along the way, so cross-world link shells is something to be excited about, but it had to come at some point, and there will continue to be technology increases as we go. I would love for one of the patches or an expansion to be when they announce that Primal and Aether are going to be able to talk to each other, and that will come out in a standard patch, but content-wise, whatever that patch is, isn't necessarily tied to that change. That's just something that I'm sure they're working on and one day we'll get. So 4.3, if you are a huge fan of the game, I think is worth sticking around for, because more of the same is good news. This is a game that is wonderfully well supported, and in my opinion, out of this and WoW, the 2 big paid MMOs, Final Fantasy's strength lies in the consistent, large content that is delivered content patch after content patch. And 4.3 and 4.35 don't look to be any different, and that is a good thing. Now, when the question comes, is it time to come back? Is 4.3 a time you should be returning? You took a break after 4.1, you took a break after 4.2, right? You got Stormblood, you played through the wonderful amount of content we got when that went live, and you haven't been blown away by the end game so far. You've looked for them to take risks. Well, 4.25, they did take a risk. They took a risk with Eureka, and Eureka was a huge risk. A huge portion of the community is loving it, and a huge portion of the community is not loving it. And so with their face still stinging from a risk they took there, I don't think that we can expect the 4.3, 4.35 series to be anything other than just going back to the status quo, going back to the Final Fantasy we all love. So if you were looking for 4.2, looked a little too much, I don't know if I'm going to like any of that, maybe you should come back. But if you're looking for them to take another risk, wow you in some way, bring you in some way where you're just blown away like, oh my god, I've never played anything like this, I don't think this is the patch for you. And I would wait until a little later in the series. The good news is, if you bought Stormblood and you're hoping for that risk this round, is that they have hinted along the way that instead of cutting off at 4.55 like could have been predicted, that this is going to be running to a 4.6, possibly a 4.7. So there is room, right? We've seen 2 of the gods really. We have 2 more gods in the storyline. We've still got patches to spare. So story could get interesting. Ethis kind of explained to me a little bit how, you know, when we had him on the podcast, how there could be a civil war brewing. So there's scenario to be excited about. Crafting and gathering beast tribes. If crafting is the side of the game you want to come back for, this is it. But if you're looking for housing updates, they really haven't fixed housing yet, in my opinion. They really haven't done a major address of housing. They just keep putting band-aids on it. So I would continue to hold off. WoW is about to go into their new expansion in Battle for Azeroth, so if those are the 2 games you jump between. WoW is kind of in its wind down state, so it's an incredibly easy time to level up over there and knock out achievements. There is a whole realm of achievements that are being knocked out with Battle for Azeroth as they remove things like First Aid. God of War is out. You know, the Switch is killing it, but is about to go into a series of games that are delayed. So if you're playing through your backlog right now, I would focus on that. If you're looking at E3 and saying, is anything going to have a sudden summer release, I would look at that. You know, I would kind of focus on that, and I would plan on coming back in 4.4. I don't know that this is a real risk-taking patch. Is it something I'm excited about? Yes, but that's because I'm happy with the state of Final Fantasy, and right now, even though Eureka isn't really content I super engage with, I'm taking this as a chance to start leveling all the jobs I always say I will. So I'm leveling my first tanks over there on stream. Hope you guys have had a chance to join us. And I'm learning how to tank in Final Fantasy. That's something new to me. And when I'm done getting all my tanks up, I'm going to go learn to endgame heal. I've been enjoying healing in PvP because you can do that at level 30, but I really haven't capped any of my healers. And so I'm taking this as an opportunity to catch up, and that's what the middle of this expansion means to me. This game is still very, very broad. There's still huge chunks of the game that you probably haven't tried. So if you're just looking for more of the same, then come back, knock out those achievements. There's not a huge amount of pressure on anything. If you're tied to a raid group, it'll be more good raid content. If you're tied to the dungeons, it'll be more good dungeon content. If you're loving the storyline, it'll be more good storyline. But if you're looking for something truly new and different, I would wait for the patch to drop to hear, and maybe at the earliest come back at 4.35. Somewhere in there, I would think 4.31, somewhere in there, we're probably going to see the new Deep Dungeon drop. I don't think it's going to be here on the day of 4.3. And so I would wait to see, what does the new Deep Dungeon look like? What does the new round of Eureka look like? Does it fix the issues we have with Eureka now? And so I would hold off at 4.3 and come in at 4.35 or 4.4 and catch up. If you love the game as it is, then 4.3 is good news for you. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Are you excited? Do you feel this is a time to leave your subscription active, to put it on hold? If it is on hold, do you think you should keep leaving it on hold? Or do you think this is a time that it is time to put that credit card back in there, activate that account, and come back to Final Fantasy? This has been Chris with Work to Game. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. It is Friday, so I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. And just as a heads up, if you're seeing this video either the day it came out or this weekend, Monday we have Casually Hardcore, the podcast, coming out on Monday at 3 p.m. Central over on Twitch. As soon as we can, we will edit that and roll it over to YouTube, so keep an eye out for that. Hope you enjoy. Thank you so much, and take care. What is Work to Game? 30 seconds, go! Work to Game is basically a channel where we talk about video games, anything we like about video games. We sometimes post vlog videos about something else that we just want to talk about. We kind of have a schedule. It changes all the time. It's in the About section on YouTube. We also stream over on Twitch just anytime we want to play games. Right now, it's happening more and more. I don't know what's happening at the time you watch this video, but the best thing you could do is click on the About page and kind of see if there's a rough plan that we have here